What's up, guys? Welcome to your 104th Android tutorial for the New Boston. And what we're going to do in this tutorial is learn about external storage, because before we've done the shared preferences and the internal storage. But let's say you guys have an app or a game that saves some data, and when they install the update, basically if we save the data internally or shared preferences, that memory is going to get erased. So what we can do is create external storage, such as like on the SD card, where when they update the game or whatever, they can still refer back to that file that we're saving on the SD card. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a class called external data, and we're also going to create a class called external data, or I'm sorry, a layout called external data. And all this layout is going to have is two text views for now, and the references of those text views are going to be TV can write and TV can read. Because this tutorial we're just going to see if we can access the external storage and see if we can write to it and if we can read to it. So within our class we set up a private text view variable called can write and can read. And basically private just means that this text view is only accessible to this class, and that's all that means for the most part. Set up our references and set our set content view, and we're just going to set up our can write dot set text to initially be false, and our can read dot set text to false as well. So if we get a false, we know we can't write or read, or something's not working within this tutorial, because we're initially let's not do that. We're going to save that there, but we're going to move it later. So if we start our application, we see the text views, we know nothing's happening. But we're eventually going to move this so we can see if it's working or not. And how we're going to do that is we're going to set up a string variable. We can again do private if you want, string, and we're going to say the state, because we're going to return the state value of our external data, like if we can access the SD card, if we can read the stuff on the SD card, or if we can write the stuff on the SD card, or both. So how we're going to do that is by the environment. We're going to get some stuff from the environment class, and we're going to get the state of the external storage. So we're going to set up the state variable to within our onCreate method to environment dot get external state, and that's just going to return a string for us. And what we're going to do now is just kind of check if we can read and write, or check what the state is equal to. So what we're going to do is we're going to say if state, and we can't compare strings like this, is equal to whatever. That's not going to work. To compare strings, again, we just have to hit dot equals. And now if it equals this object within here, then we know what kind of state it is. And there's three types of states. One, again, we have to refer to the environment class, so environment, and then we're going to say dot media mounted. So if our state is equal to this media mounted, what that's going to mean is we can read and write. So we're just going to set up within here read and write, something like that. And now we're just going to change our text views. I'm just going to copy that here and turn these to true, because we can read and write. Because we don't want to try and write something if we can't do it. So we're basically going to use this type of checking method to see if we can read and write, and then if we can write some data. Let's say there's a different state that we access where we can read the stuff but we can't actually write it. So what we're going to do, we're going to say else. So if this statement's false, we're going to say, hey, is it this, else if, and we're going to say state, again, dot equals, and then within parentheses, environment dot media mounted read only. So that way we're going to be able to read the data, but we can't actually access it. So again, we're just going to leave a comment, read but can't write. There we go. And so on this one, we're going to say, again, we're just going to copy and paste. Let's say we're going to say write is still going to be false, but read is going to be true. And then the last state, we're going to say else. So this last bracket is going to be our last resort. So it's going to say, hey, can we read and write? It's going to be like, yeah, true, true. If that's false, it's going to be like, hey, can we at least read it? And it's going to be like, yeah, you can read it. But if we can't, it's going to be like, all right, I got nothing for you. So this is our last little bracket here to set up some stuff. So we're just going to hit Control V and set both of our text to false. And now we're going to delete both these two set texts with above because this way we can see if this whole thing isn't even working at all for the most part, because we'll still have those text views. So let's just run it and see what our emulator looks like when we run our application. And again, just quickly, what we did, so got it going from last tutorial. And what we did is we set up two text views, and basically we're getting, every time we access external data, we want to use this environment get external state, external storage state, and check if we can read and write. That's the main thing of this tutorial, is we're just getting the state and seeing if it's equal to media mounted. And then, you know, if we can't, we're going to see if we can at least read the data. And then if we just need to read data, you know, we want to make sure we can at least read it. And if we can't do either, we're going to kind of return a false value as well. So, and once we go down to our external data, you can see both of them are true, so we can read and write to our emulator.